Hello there, Ian here, and great to be with you once again. And I'm in a room that is echoing a bit, so I hope that it doesn't detract too much from today's sharing. And what I'd like to share with you today is an idea that has come from actually several examples throughout business. But I'd like to tie it back to an early childhood memory from the sporting world. But I believe that we can learn a lot from sport if we apply it to our business. And this particular example is one of my earliest sort of sporting memories. And it's a tennis match. And it was played between Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe. And it was the Wimbledon final of 1981. And I saw this match on a black and white portable television in the sports shop that I was working in on Saturdays while I was at school. And I watched this match because there was nobody in the shop, because anyone who was interested in sport was at home watching the match themselves. So I could watch the match in relative comfort and relaxation. And I remember watching that game and how much time McEnroe seemed to have when he played the shots. He seemed to be where the ball was going and played shots with ease, and he won the match 3-1. So that's what we want to have in business. We want to be able to anticipate what's happening in the market and engineer our businesses to be where we need to be ahead of the trend. So here are a couple of ideas to help you. So the first thing we have to do, and this is often where we begin when we work with our partners, we need to begin by reducing the amount of management time it takes to run the business. If you are knee-deep in problems and firefighting, it's very hard to even lift your head above the forest and trees to see what's happening in the market. So the first thing you have to do is to reduce the time it takes to manage the business and give us the time we need to have more market-facing activities. So that's number one. The second thing is, okay, if we're able to get that time and look at where the market is going, how do we assess how do we do it? How do we try and uncover the trends in the market? Well, I'm going to give you two examples. And the first is from a company called Coastal Contacts. Now, these guys sold contact lenses online. Simple model. You log on, you upload your prescription, and then in a few days' time, you get your contact lenses in the mail. Simple enough business model. But these guys wanted to scale. They wanted to get to a new level of performance, and they worked with a coach. And what the coach encouraged them to do was to get in touch with their customers. So what they did was they had, I think it was 4 questions they would ask every customer. First of all was, hey, how's it going? You know, what's happening in your life? How are you? The second one was, what do you love about dealing with us? You know, why are you still our customer? The third question was, where can we improve? Is there anything that we could do that we're not doing now that would serve you better? And lastly, are you coming across any offers or any deals from our competitors? So those 4 questions were asked endlessly, month after month after month, and they would get largely the same answers. And they came back to their coach and said, look, we're getting a lot of these same answers, do we have to continue? And the coach encouraged them to keep on and trust the process. And after, I think it was about 18 months of asking these questions, they began to see a very faint pattern. And it was only a small number of customers that responded by saying, you know, when they asked them, what do you love? And they say, we're blown away, we're thrilled by your overnight delivery. And Roger Hardy tells the story. He was a CEO, and he says, but we never promised overnight delivery. It's not on our website, and we certainly don't commit that as a service. Cutting a long story short, it turned out that those that loved the overnight delivery lived around the corner or on the same block as the factory. So it was pure luck that they got their contact lenses next day. So he said, right, well, if the customers are so thrilled about our overnight delivery, why don't we try and overnight everything? Wouldn't that be something to try? So they did it on a small scale, more thrilled customers. They worked out how to do it, and then they overnighted everything from all of their branches all over the country, which was in the US. And cutting another long story short, they ended up getting sold to a European company or acquired by a European company for $385 million. Now, what Roger went on to say was, we could have spent hour after hour with the senior team wondering what we could do. Instead, we got out into the market, talked to our customers, and got their feedback and used that to plan our next move. And that secured their position for the next couple of years, ending in the acquisition by these European guys, which I think was Essilor that bought them. So that's the first example. The next example is Walmart. Now, Walmart are a massive retailer. And right from the beginning, Sam Walton in the 1960s said to his marketing executives that they should not be in the office for 3 or 4 days a week. Get out into the market and go and shop at competitors. Talk to customers that are shopping at competitors. Get in the car park. Talk to the people that are unloading their trolleys. How could their life be made easier? And then there was the famous Saturday morning meeting at Walmart where they would come back from the field and share what they had observed. And there would then be a discussion and the implementation of maybe 1 or 2 ideas over the next week. You haven't got to implement all of the ideas, but just maybe 1 or 2. Because you don't have to be months ahead of the competition. You really only have to be a day or 2 or a week ahead of the competition, and you can still win big. So that's the real lesson from today. When I watched that tennis match and how much time McEnroe had, he used that anticipation to win match after match after match. And if we can get ahead of the curve, if we can reduce the time that we're firefighting, lift our heads and gain some feedback from the market, we can then move our own companies in the direction of the trends and be there ahead of the competition. I really hope that did make sense, and I look forward to showing you again soon.